the armed forces provides amazing training.
I think about veterans as people who have already figured out how to serve.
My military skills have been essential.
Hiring veterans is a great business case. They're the best employees we have. They're flexible, hardworking, and they're used to a global workplace.
If that isn't an asset to any company, I don't know what is.
Hiring America, the award-winning television job fair for American veterans. Connecting you with companies who know your value. Learn about employers who are actively hiring today and organizations that support veterans. Your future success starts right here on Hiring America.
Hiring America, produced in partnership with DAV, fulfilling our promises to the men and women who served.
Now I want to introduce the GIs of Comedy, a comedic troupe of troops, I like that, who have taken their love of their country and brought it to the comedy stage. Their mission, their goal, to help heal fellow soldiers with their comedy, to bring laughter to all those who have supported the people that wear the uniform of the United States Armed Services. So let's welcome the GIs of Comedy.
Everybody, give it up for Larry King. Wow. I just got introed by Larry King. Thank you guys for coming out tonight and supporting this show. Who didn't know there was a stand-up comedy show going on tonight? Okay, good. I don't want people coming in for dinner like, what the hell is this? Well, thank you for coming out. My name is Tom Tran. I'm the creator of the GIs of Comedy. We are a troupe of U.S. military veterans, all stand-up comedians, different branches of the U.S. military. We've been touring all over the world for the last 5 years, performing to troops, 19 countries in the last 3 years. I'm a retired United States Army Staff Sergeant myself, which is a confusing statement because I look like I'm 12. I joined the Army because my father was a prisoner of war in Vietnam. He was an Air Force pilot. He served in Vietnam. He was a prisoner of war when Saigon fell. Escaped, brought my family to the United States, worked his butt off to put us through school. My older brother is a chemical engineer. My older sister is a federal agent. My younger sister builds rockets for the government. And I tell fart jokes for a living. So clearly, I did not go in the direction that he wanted me to. He doesn't even know what to tell people I do. At least when I was in the Army, people would be like, what does Tom do? Oh, he's in the Army. They ask him what I do now, and he goes, he's a clown or something. I don't know. He makes people laugh, I suppose.
I won a competition raising money for the Bob Hope USO, and they called me the funniest service member in Los Angeles. And I said, it's kind of an awesome title. And I met a group of other comedians who were veterans of the U.S. military. And when I left the Army, I still wanted to serve any way that I could. And I tell people all the time, I can't kick down doors, I can't jump out of planes anymore, but I can make soldiers laugh. I can make them forget about where they are, that they're deployed, that they're away from their families for 30, 45, 90 minutes. So I created this group.
All right, I'm going to bring up your next comedian. This guy is literally the first guy I enlisted for this group. He is one of my closest friends. And I say that about all these guys, but he was one of my groomsmen at my wedding, mainly because he's also my roommate and he lives in the back, so it would have been weird to not ask him. He is a 21-year veteran of the United States Air Force. He just made Lieutenant Colonel. He still serves in the United States Air Force Reserve. Please give a big round of applause for Jose Sarduy.
I did not know I wanted to be a comedian. I wasn't even funny growing up. I just loved stand-up, but I tried to be an astronaut, and that turns out to be hard, and I didn't make it, even through the beginning stages, because I didn't even get to apply for the astronaut program, because there's a lot of stuff to get to before that. I didn't even make it through that.
I left Miami after high school, and I joined the Air Force. So I just actually celebrated 22 years in the Air Force in June. I'm a reservist part-time, thank you. And as Tom said, I'm a lieutenant colonel, and everybody's like, you look too young to be lieutenant colonel, and I was like, well, you should have seen when I was a first lieutenant at 24 years old flying cargo planes, I look 14, which does not give you confidence when you get on the plane. And I would have World War II veterans like, what do you do on the plane, little boy? And I'm like, I'm the pilot, sir. Like, well, we're taking the train then.
So I was just flying cargo for the Air Force, and that was a pretty good job. But my passion since I was 9 years old was to be an astronaut. And then stand-up bug hit me. It was funny at a party, and I was like, I can do this.
When people find out I'm a pilot, and they're like, oh, a pilot like Tom Cruise in Top Gun? Like, no. I flew cargo planes. They're like, Jose, you look a little like Tom Cruise. I'm like, no, I don't. Okay, maybe now I do. Hey, you guys.
The GIs of Comedy love this group. This group made comedy fun for me.
Don't you hate when people have expectations for you, but you don't live up to their expectations and they get mad at you? Right? We're moving to a new house, right? Moving to a new house. I hired movers. You hear me, sister? Hired. Hired movers. Halfway through the move, one of the movers looks at me and said, hey, you're a big dude. Help us with this couch. Nope. He said, no, come on, you help us with this couch. We'll get this done faster. Bada boom, bada bing, bam, we out of here. I'm like, that sounds good, but check this out. I would help, but back in '98, I, graduated from college, so no, I don't help furniture. That was your career choice, not mine. Let's go.
I was always a fan of comedy. I grew up listening to Richard Pryor, Eddie Murphy, Red Fox, Mom's Mabley. I'm like a comedy historian. And one of my friends dared me, basically, to do comedy. So I did it, had a great set. It helped that half the audience were friends of mine, but still had a great set, and that feeling that I got just made me say, this is what I want to do now. I want to be on stage making people laugh, entertaining people, making them feel better.
A year and a half ago, full hip replacement. Yeah, I know y'all looking at me and say, hey, you're a big dude, stop lifting heavy stuff. No, I just told you, I don't lift heavy stuff. I don't. And see, I didn't mess my hip up in a cool way. I wasn't doing something worthy. I wasn't in the Marines. I wasn't like in the trenches. I wasn't squatting 1,000 pounds, bench pressing 800 pounds, fighting dragons. I wasn't doing anything cool like that. I was making some quinoa. I sprinkled a little too much paprika on it. Sneeze too hard, pow! Broken hip, bam, right there.
I served in the United States Navy for 5.5 years. I was a dental technician and a field medic. And I was a dental technician for the President of the United States.
Well, I love this job. This is a great job. This is what I do for a living. I almost became a cop when I first came out. When I got out of the Navy, when I first came out. Back with my buddy. But when I got out of the Navy, I almost became a cop because, that's just one of those jobs you can get back at anybody that give you a hard time. I'd love to be a cop. If I was a cop, I'd pull my parents over every single day. I'd be waiting at the bottom of the driveway like, what am I going to do with the two of you? Mom and Dad, writing this ticket's going to hurt me a lot more than it hurts you. Oh, you can pull over your exes? Hey, Wendy. Well, it looks like this time I'm not the one who's moving too fast. I could let you go, but somebody want to be friends. Then you pull over your old teachers. How good would that be? Hey, Mr. Thompson. PJ Walsh. 4th grade. Well, looks like I clocked you doing 36 and a 35 back there. Hey, look, I know it's only 1 mile, and I don't mean to be a stickler, but I don't have to remind you, 1 point is the difference between passing and failing now, isn't it? I could let you go, but it would hurt you in the future.
The president whose teeth I took care of was President Clinton, so the writing was on the wall. Where do you go after that? You gotta be a comedian. Where do you go after cleaning President Clinton's teeth? Yes, comedy's the next logical step.
Hiring America will be back in a moment.
Veterans sometimes are seen in the common media as people who go overseas and we do the will of the government and the Department of Defense, and they kind of forget that we're also your neighbors and your friends.
And I got out of the academy and I became a pilot. I flew cargo planes, and now I'm a trainer pilot. And whenever I tell audiences like, oh, I'm an Air Force pilot, they're like, they let the Cubans fly the plane? Shouldn't he be in the Coast Guard? No, you don't want Cubans in the Coast Guard. That's like Mexicans in the Border Patrol. That's not a good idea. That's not a good security system. Stop right there! Oh, that's my cousin. Okay, welcome to America. That's not a good... People get in that way.
So a lot of these guys, whether it's Jose Sarduy or Tom Tran or Tom Irwin or PJ, like these are just normal guys that are husbands and that are fathers, and they do incredible things in addition to making us laugh. And I think a night like this is important to show to the community that veterans served their country in uniform in the past, and they continue to serve their country in unique ways through humor, through being good citizens, through connecting with the community.
Yeah, I am here to represent the United States Marine Corps. That was what my job before I did this, and thank you very much. I actually went to college on a Marine Corps scholarship too. The Marine Corps was my student loan. So when I hear recent college grads go, oh, my student loans are killing me, my student loan actually tried to kill me.
I actually got started in stand-up comedy in the Marine Corps. My colonel asked me to write him jokes for a dinner, but when a colonel makes a request, it's not really a request, it's more of a direct order. So I had 48 hours to make him funny, and so right before the dinner, my boss, the executive officer, knocks on my hatch, and he said, the colonel needs to see you, and I thought, damn, I crossed the line. So I went in there thinking I was going to get skewered, and instead I went in the room, and he wanted tips. He wanted like, well, how did you see this being delivered? I'm like, well, all right, so, and I started just slinging him, and I went back, and so he did great. He killed, and I thought, all right, if I don't die in the war, I'm coming back. I'm gonna do this myself. So I may be the only person that was given a direct order to make their boss funny.
Yeah, the amazing thing is, I went to Harvard. The Marine Corps paid for Harvard University. Now, I'm not bragging when I say that. If you think I'm getting cocky, let's just take a moment together and let's just follow the trajectory of my life. Harvard, then the Marine Corps, then stand-up comedy. I basically took my parents' hopes and dreams and I chipped away at them one jaw-dropping decision at a time. Do you have any idea what it feels like to go back to a Harvard reunion when you become a stand-up comedian? It's like, well, what do you do for a living? Oh, well, I run a non-profit organization and we supply blood to children in need. What do you do? Oh, me? Well, I run a non-profit career. And I sell my blood for money, so maybe we've done business together before.
The transition after combat into being a civilian was harder than I ever thought it would be, because I didn't have a mission anymore. The worst thing is to be a soldier without a mission, and you're just a lost soul, and that's what I was. I wasn't a stand-up comic at the time. I wasn't a soldier anymore, and I didn't have a thing to drive me. I mean, the Army was what drove me for the better part of my 20s. And I didn't have a mission until I found stand-up comedy.
The idea of taking humor and using it as a bridge between civilians and military people is probably the best thing that we can do. For the fact that if you look at the idea of how many people are in the military serving, which seems like a lot, but in the idea of how the population is broken down, it's not a lot. So, to show that people in the military can be artistic, people can be funny, it's invaluable to us because I don't think, if you look at war posters from the 40s, 50s, 60s, you don't think like, gosh, I wonder if that guy's funny. But when you see us, hopefully you say, that was funny.
Bob Hope was synonymous with entertaining our troops. And we haven't had a Bob Hope. We've had entertainers continuing that tradition, but we haven't had a name that was synonymous with entertaining the military, and that's what I wanted to do when I created the GIs of Comedy. I wanted to be this force of entertainment for our troops.
A gentleman came up to me after the show and he said, can I talk to you for a second? And I said, sure, and he took me aside and he said, I just wanted to say thank you. And I said, for what? And he said, just because, he said, I've been here for 10, 11 months. He said, and even when you're sleeping, you always know you're here. He said, but for the first time during your show, I left and I didn't feel like I was here anymore. Because I know I'm back now, but for that brief time I was gone. And he gave me a hug. And in the military, because it's very macho, essentially a macho place to be, you get a lot of the bro hugs. But this was just a hug that and he kind of held on to me, and it was really sweet, beautiful moment. And that's the type of thing that, if you can build that, you walk away saying this is all worthwhile.
I am a veteran, and my victory was finding the strength to be a champion.
I am a veteran. My victory is having a job I can be proud of.
America's veterans are on their most important tour, the tour of their lives.
My victory was finishing my education.
Mine is proving a disability is not a limitation.
At DAV, we're on a mission to help veterans get the benefits they've earned.
My victory is having my new battle buddy.
As veterans face their challenges, DAV is there to help for victories great and small.
I'm a veteran, and my victory is getting the help I needed to put my life back together.
DAV offers veterans of all generations a lifetime of support.
I am a veteran. My victory is being there for my family.
When America's veterans win, we all win. Help us support more victories for veterans. Go to DAV.org.
To this day, I go back to a lot of times the things that the military taught me. Like I'll literally go back to attention to detail, and then my word is a big thing. And read a room. That's one thing I do too. I always read a room. As a dental technician, you know what I mean? Like that guy's got puffy gums. Like that guy's got caps.
These guys were tremendous. And I have to be honest, I just thought to myself, yeah, maybe these guys would be as funny as the guys in the locker room or something like that, but these are consummate professionals. I would put them up against anybody in Hollywood any day. I had a great time and can't wait to see them again.
The sets were great. I was really impressed. In fact, I approached a couple of the comedians afterwards just to learn more about their careers and see where they were performing in the future, because I think they are really talented. I didn't quite know what to expect, but what I really appreciated was weaving their personal stories about serving in the military and finding the humor in some difficult experiences and in just the unusual experiences that they have as people serving our country.
You might occasionally see me looking at my hand. I will explain why. I actually have to write my jokes on my hand because I am what you call unprofessional. But the actual reason is, and this is the God's honest truth, I deployed to Iraq in 2003 with the United States Army. And my first week in Iraq, my fourth day in country, my first mission outside the wire, I was in a gunfight. And I took a 7.62 round from an AK-47 to the back of the skull. Took out a little chunk of my scalp, and it screwed up my short-term memory. So I have a really hard time remembering 10 or 15 minutes at a time. And people are like, that's terrible that you don't have a good memory. And it's not, because I live with a woman, and it could actually be the best thing that's ever happened in my life. Because I have a built-in excuse to forget everything, and she can't get mad at me, because that would be unpatriotic.
I think a lot of people have preconceived notions, whether positive or negative, about the military and about people who serve and about veterans who are coming back. And these guys made it so accessible. Their stories were relatable. Their stories were hilarious. And I just sort of loved the way that they wove in their real life experience, having served this great country, and also made it funny, made it enjoyable.
The important thing that we show veterans is that, we are people similar to how they are, as far as they have dreams, they have goals, they have aspirations, and so our goal is to just say to them, you can do anything you want. I mean, we've all created things in our lives that meant something to us, and we hope that that transcends to them, where they do something that means something to them.
Hiring America will be back in a moment.
You guys have a good time tonight? Let me bring up my GIs of Comedy. Jose Sarduy, PJ Walsh, James P. Conley, Les Jennings, come on up here, guys. We wanted to thank you guys for letting us entertain you tonight. Thank you to the Crescent Hotel. No.
Continue the conversation on our Facebook page and YouTube channel, and sign up to receive our newsletter at hiringamerica.net. Hiring America, produced in partnership with DAV, fulfilling our promises to the men and women who served.
Promotional consideration provided by JetBlue, a proud employer of those who've served.